Hello, and welcome to Math Made Easy with Mr. S, the YouTube channel dedicated to showing you that math really is easy if you just work hard and are taught the right way. Today we're going to learn about adding integers. Okay, so before we start adding integers though, we probably should learn some important terms that we need to know. The first important term is what exactly an integer is. Okay, so in the world of math, an integer is just any positive or negative whole number. So that means we don't have to worry about any fractions, any decimals, any percents, anything about that. We're just going to be working with positive, negative, whole numbers. Now when we're talking about adding integers, we also have to understand the idea of absolute value. And when we talk about absolute value, we're talking about a number's distance from zero. In other words, really absolute value is just how far a number is going to move. So for example, when we talk about absolute value sign is these little up and down bars right here. So when this problem says what is the absolute value of 5, which is what this is asking, the absolute value of 5 is 5, because it's just asking how far away from 0 is 5. Okay, so that's why we have absolute value of 5 is 5 here. But on the same hand, if we go to the other side and we ask for absolute value of negative 5, that is still just asking you how far away from 0, or what is the distance from 0 that negative 5 is. So the absolute value of negative 5 is also just 5. Okay, because absolute value just means a distance from 0, how far that number moves. Now that's important when we're talking about integers, because we need to remember that when working with signed numbers, the number represents how far the number actually moves. It represents the distance. The sign represents the direction. Okay, so for example, if we have a positive number, it means we're moving to the right. So for example, positive 8 means move 8 spaces to the right. On the other hand, if we have negative, that means move left. So when we see the number negative 8, that means we're going to move left 8 spaces. Okay, so the number is how far, the sign is which direction. That's what our signed numbers mean. Okay, so if I start to look at some different examples of ways to add integers together, let's start with one we already know the answer to. We already know 2 plus 3 equals 5. Okay, so I'm going to use one we already know to show you how this works. So there's one technique we can use, which is using a number line to add integers. Okay, so if we're going to use a number line, obviously a number line is this down here where we just got numbers on a line. Each tick mark represents a certain number. And if we're going to do 2 plus 3, we start at 0. And if we have this positive 2 here at the beginning, okay, we've got a positive 2 here, that means we're going to start at 0. Positive means go right. The 2 means 2. So we're going to start from 0 and go right 2 places. So then when I add a positive 3 again means go to the right. But this time we're going to go to the right 3 spaces. So when I do 2 plus 3, where I end up is my final answer to that addition problem. So obviously 2 plus 3 is the 5 that we already know. Okay, we learned that a long time ago, but I just want to show you how that type of problem works if we do a number line to use it, or use a number line to solve it. There's another technique we can use, something called sign wars. Okay, so if I'm going to do 2 plus 3 and do sign wars on it, I take 2 positives because it's positive 2. Okay, so I put 2 positives down here under the 2. Then I go to the 3 and put 3 positives under the 3. And when we play sign wars, we run all the signs together. They battle it out, and what we find out is if there's 2 positives here, 3 positives here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positives all together. That again proves our answer is 5. Okay, now would I use those techniques on that problem? Absolutely not. Where I would use those techniques is on a tougher one when we start throwing negative integers into the problem. So for example, if we're going to do 2 plus negative 3. If I'm going to do positive 2 plus negative 3 and I want to do the number line technique, this is a positive 2, which means we are from 0 going to go right 2 places. Okay? So we're going to go right 2. But now we're adding a negative 3. And a negative tells us to move to the left. So if I go right 2, I'm going to go from that place, because I just went right 2, Now I'm going to turn around and go back 3. Okay, because that's the negative sign tells me to do. Go left 3. And where I end up is my final answer. So if I start at 0 and go right 2, then I turn around and go left 3, I'm at negative 1. That's why 2 plus negative 3 is equal to negative 1. Okay, does that make sense? Let's take a look at, if that doesn't help, let's take a look at sign wars. Okay, positive 2 plus negative 3. That means I have 2 positives here. But this time I have 3 negatives instead of positives. And when you run them together, when they slide together, when they battle it out, a positive and a negative will cancel each other out. Okay, they neutralize each other. They go away. This positive and negative also would cancel out and go away, which means the only thing we have left is 1 negative. Okay, that 1 negative means I have an answer of negative 1. Okay, but either way, whether it's an easy one or a tougher one like that, I would recommend not using either of those techniques. The quickest, easiest way in order to add integers is just to use the 2 rules of adding integers. Okay, the first rule of adding integers is if I have signs that are the same. So for example, that first one we did, 2 plus 3. It was a positive 2 plus a positive 3. So the rule is if signs are the same, they're either both positive or both negative, you just add the numbers and keep the sign. Okay, so positive 4 plus positive 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. They're both positive, so my answer is positive 12. Okay, but on the other side of that, it's the same if they're negative. Okay, negative 4 plus negative 8. Signs are the same, so I add my numbers together. 4 plus 8 is 12. But because they're both negative, this is negative 12. Because think about what that means, how we talked about it on a number line. This means go left 4. This means go left 8 more. That means altogether we're 12 to the left, or negative 12. Okay, so again, if I have the same sign, 15 plus 22. This is positive 15, positive 22. We add them together to get 37. They're both positive, so it's positive 37. Here we're going right 15, we're going right 22, we're 37 to the right. And it's the same if they're both negative. Okay, negative 15 plus negative 22. Same signs, so we add the numbers together to get 37. And since they're both negative, it's negative 37. Because that means I'm going left 15, then I'm going left 22 more. Okay, so if they're the same exact sign, you just add them together, keep the sign. So that'd be negative 37. That's rule 1. Rule 2 is when signs are different. Okay, that's like the second one where we had 2 plus negative 3. If signs are different, one's positive and one's negative, we're actually going to subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the bigger number. So for example, if we have 8 plus negative 4, one's a positive, one's a negative. Signs are different. So that means I'm going to subtract the 2 numbers to get 4. And then since the 8, the positive is bigger than the negative, it's going to be positive 4. So 8 plus negative 4 is 4. Because this means I'm going right 8, left 4. I'm going right more than I'm going left. So I have a positive 4 for an answer. And if I flip that sign to negative 8 plus 4, signs are different, so I'm going to subtract to get a 4. But this time the negative's bigger. So negative 8 plus 4, when I put them together, becomes a negative 4. Because you subtract the numbers if the signs are different, keep the sign of the bigger number. Because that means I'm going left 8, right 4. I'm going left farther than I'm going right. So negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. Okay, another one. Negative 23 plus 11. Signs are different, so we're going to subtract the numbers. 23 minus 11 is 12. We have more negatives than positives, so it's negative 12. Okay, and then we have 23 plus negative 11, same situation. When signs are different, we subtract to get 12, but the positives are bigger, so it's positive 12. Okay, that's the easiest way, quickest way to add integers together. Instead of doing number lines, instead of doing sign wars, which I could recommend you do if you get stuck on any. But the easiest way is to remember, same signs, add and keep the sign. Different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. Because that means you're going farther in that direction than you are the other. So if it's negative's bigger, that means you're going farther left than you're going farther right. So your answer is going to be negative. Or vice versa. If you're going positive more, you get a positive answer because you're going right more than you're going left. Okay. Here's a few more practice questions. Negative 15 plus negative 7. Same signs, add them together, so we get 22. And since they're both negative, it's negative 22. Okay, we have negative 30 plus negative 42. Same signs, so we add them together. We're going left 30, then we're going left 42. So I add them together, keep the sign, so it's negative 72. Because we're going left 30, then we're going left 42 more. That's 72 to the left, or negative 72. Next, we have negative 15 plus 7. Different signs means we're going to subtract. Okay, so 15 minus 7 is 8. There's more negatives than positives, so it's going to be negative 8. And then on the next one, negative 30 plus 42. Okay, signs are different. One's going left, one's going right, so we're going to subtract. So we're going to get 12. And since there's more positives than there are negatives, it's positive 12. Okay, hopefully that helps. And as I say on all my videos, if it's tough, you're struggling a little bit, just don't give up. Keep giving your best effort, keep practicing, watch the video again, do some practice problems until it makes sense what we're doing. Okay, but don't ever give up. If you keep trying, you will find that this will click and you will find that math really can be easy. But just keep giving your best effort. Do not give up. If you found this video valuable, please like it, subscribe, share, comment, all those good things. Let's spread these videos so that everybody can see that math really can be easy. Okay, and I hope you have a great day, and please be good to each other. See you again soon.